Hey guys, my name's Lynn and this is a review video for Peppa Pig World in Paultons Park. Now we went last week Friday, which is the 14th of August, for my daughter's delayed birthday celebration because she had a birthday during the height of lockdown and it was just quite boring and dry. We stayed in the house. Now first things first, Peppa Pig World is a brilliant day out. If you haven't yet been, if you haven't taken your little ones and you can afford to do so, do it. I have been to Universal Studios in Florida and Disneyland Paris, and this right on our doorstep, well, to a degree. We live in London, so we're like 2 hours away from it, but this is up there. It's a really good day out. So some things worth noting. Some people have concerns about what Paultons Park are doing with regards to safety and hygiene because of COVID. Now, they had a lot going on, a lot of things, and I felt very reassured and very safe in their hands. So first of all, you can only book a ticket online. You can no longer buy a ticket on the spot, so make sure you're aware of that. Don't try pulling up because you'll be pulling away with no ticket. So yeah, tickets online only, and they have a virtual queue thing now on the app where you don't have to be in the queue, so I guess you're around people less, which is a good thing. They have safety signage everywhere reminding you about personal hygiene, so washing your hands or sanitizing your hands regularly, and also social distancing. So the queues, there are markers on the floor for all of the queues which remind you to kind of not get in someone's space and keep your distance, which is a good thing because people do, even myself, you tend to forget, you know, it's like you're so excited, caught in the moment, oh Peppa, George, and then you're just like, oh yeah, we're in the middle of a pandemic, we need to kind of take a bit of space between each other. So it's good to have that reminder constantly. Another good thing is that they have hand gel dispensers dotted around the park. So I think on every single ride we went to, there was a hand gel dispenser for you to use at the end. What I will say is the hand gel within these units was horrible. It's sticky. It leaves a sticky and bitty feeling on your hands. I'm not sure what was going on. Maybe it was a bad day for them. It wasn't the nicest gel to use, and I always had to use my own gel afterwards and wash my hands. They do insist on wearing masks. It's not an option. It's compulsory to wear a mask when you are anywhere indoors at the park. So that includes shops, that includes restaurants, and that includes the toilets even. So yes, you have to wear a mask in the toilet. Is there anybody patrolling to make sure? No, but most people were following the rule, which is a good thing. In line with the social distancing, there were also screen barriers. So when you were queuing for any rides, or for a lot of the rides, there were these screen barriers that I guess prevented you from getting too close, or your spit or saliva, germs, getting in contact with somebody else because you were separated by a screen, which was a good thing. The park seemed somewhat quiet, like there were less people there altogether. Now I'm trying to work out if this was a case of Paultons making a point not to let as many people into the park, or people just were not comfortable to come just yet, but it was a lot quieter than what I've come to expect from other similar theme parks. Like I said, Disneyland or Universal Studios, they were a lot busier and you queue for a hell of a lot longer. And that's a great thing about Peppa Pig World. The queues, on the day we went, the queues didn't take too long to go down. I mean, some of them there were no queues at all, which was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. The meets and greets, if you do meet and greets with Peppa and George and her family, you will be doing it in a socially distanced way, which was a good thing. So there was no contact essentially. I'll insert a video so you can see exactly what I mean, but you're taking a picture, you're getting to meet them, so the kids still get the joy, the excitement, but it's that a little bit of a distance to keep the safety. Some of the staff at Paultons did wear masks, not all of them, but some did choose to wear PPE. Another visible way we could see that they were taking COVID very seriously and hygiene very seriously as well. What we did notice walking around the park was some of the rides and attractions were closed temporarily for like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, for them to clean and sanitize. Another measure worth keeping in mind is, much like a lot of the retail shops nowadays, they are not accepting cash. There's no cash payments accepted anywhere in Paultons. It's either gift card or credit debit card, basically. Okay, so like I said at the top of the video, Peppa Pig World is incredible. It is definitely highly recommended. And yes, of course, it's not a cheap day out depending on how many children you have, but it is something that's worthwhile saving for. Like if your children love Peppa or George, it is worth definitely saving, putting a bit of money aside each month if it's what you have to do to take them there, because their little faces will light up and they will be super happy. So what I'd like to do next is give you some quick tips and helpful pieces of advice if you are planning to visit Peppa Pig World. Number one, take a rain mac. We live in England. It's bound to rain. Take it, a little fold up one, because you never know. You just never know. Number two, as mentioned previously in this video, the hand sanitizer that is readily available all around the park is horrible. It's very sticky and very bitty. So I would recommend you bring your own hand sanitizer. Okay, number three, Plan your day ahead before you go. So when you do go, there are these lovely handy park map guide things that you get, which have, of course, a map and everything located on the map and things to do, everything that's at the park basically. But it is definitely worth looking online to figure out what it is you want to get from the park. So of course, in case you didn't know, there's Peppa Pig World, but there's also Paultons Park, which is another huge theme park, and there's beautiful grounds there and animals. There's just so much to do. We went first thing in the morning and we got the early entry meet and greet ticket. So we were there. We were like one of the first families on site when it opened, and we left. I think we were one of the last to leave. We practically got told to leave because everyone had gone and we were just hanging. But even in that time, in that long day, we didn't do everything. We wish we could have extended that and made the day last longer. It was that good, and it was great. It was so good. So I would definitely say plan your day effectively to ensure that anything that you want to get ticked off, if your kids want to go on every single ride at Peppa Pig World, which mine did, you need to go early and you need to be sure you know what you're checking off and where you're going, where they're located. It's not hard to find your way around. Tip number 4, and possibly the most important tip I'm going to give you, is buy early access tickets if you can. It is so worth it. So of course it costs a bit more per person. I think it's £15 extra per adult. However, it's really worth doing. And the reason I say that is because you get exclusive access to the park before the crowds of people swarm into the park, which we saw happening. So we were there early, and you kind of have like this celebrity feeling, like you paid to own the park, or maybe like you do own the park, because it was us and maybe like 3-4 maximum other families that were there. And you get to meet Peppa and George, you get to look around the park and just soak up the atmosphere and just take it all in before it gets busy, hectic, crazy, and you just hear screaming kids everywhere. So if you go early, you get to do all that, plus meet Peppa and George, get your photo taken, and you also get to ride on the rides before anyone else, which is great, because when people do start arriving, what you'll notice is the queues start building. And we know queuing with children is not always a fun thing to do. So if you can spare that extra bit of money, I would say it's definitely worthwhile buying the early access tickets. Tip number 5, there are ducks all over the park, walking around leisurely, looking at you, you looking at them. Bring some bread to feed the ducks. If your little ones like ducks, bring some bread to feed them. I didn't think to do that. I didn't know there were going to be ducks just walking next to us as we ate our food. It's lovely. And my last tip in terms of how to make sure you smash Peppa Pig World and have the best time ever is to bring a packed lunch. Now, we didn't buy any, in fact, we bought a little bit of food. So we bought a huge, between us all, we bought quite a large packed lunch. We had lots of food, which was fantastic. Lots of snacks, lots of bits basically. And then my husband still bought some fries for the kids, because all kids love fries, right? Yeah. So we bought fries as well. But the reason I say to bring a packed lunch is because they've got ample seating areas and benches and whatnot. And you can just sit down at your own leisure and eat your own food. And you'll know you're going to like it if it's your own food. And you save a bit of money by bringing your own food. So me personally, I'd always recommend, if you're allowed to, if you can do, bring your own food. It's usually more delicious anyway. I hope my tips have been helpful for you. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing to the channel. My name's Lynn. It's been lovely meeting you and talking to you. And if you do decide to go to Peppa Pig World, have the best time ever.